All right, hey everybody. It looks like we're live. Um, I've got some updates that I wanted to do to the show file, and I thought it might be a fun opportunity to just hop on live and hang out with everybody if anyone wants to show up and watch while I do it. So, one of the main things that I'm trying to improve about this show file is I have, for example, this blinder effect on a temp fader. And I wrote it like 5 minutes before one of the shows. And I threw two cues on it with different recipe patterns, but I want to instead kind of create an intensity effects generator. It's like the color one. I never took the time to really dig into this one because in its root form it always worked, and I've never really dug into anything for intensity effects. So these are just a couple of little things I wanted to take a little bit of time on this file and really play around with. I was thinking about it while lighting a show last night. So I thought it would be fun to hop on and kind of work through this. Some of it might take me a second to remember how to do or think through it because it's been a minute since I did some of this, but we'll get underway. Oh, I did also want to share. I added shuffle to this effect. So let's take these legends out. Let's just focus on our color effect. So phase of 360, go to our layout, exactly as expected. I went ahead and added shuffle. I made this on the fly last night because I realized I never had it and I wanted it. And so I just made an appearance for 1 or 0, whether it's on or off. And this is just, again, a 2Q sequence. And it's shuffling it to 25 because it's just the number I punched in. But let's get into our intensity effect generator. So let me see, what does our show file look like? So I'm going to let the 200s be my sequences for my effects. Let's move these other Resolume sequences out of the way because honestly, I don't really use them. I'm primarily, if I'm doing Resolume stuff, triggering it on the software itself, so we can scooch those out of the way. We'll let these position sequences start at 300. And these are pretty rudimentary right now. This venue is small. I only have 2 movers. I know it's very rudimentary. But I'm overall pretty, in the grand scheme of things, new to busking. And this is the first busking file I've ever written for myself. So in some ways, I'm figuring out a workflow that works for me. And I'm trying to create a show file that's adaptable, that I'm comfortable with, and that's scalable because I'm working to move towards some more of those types of shows. But right now, for my positions, which are very rudimentary, I just have these are each sequences, and I believe they're tagged, but they might not be. They are not tagged. So they just override each other. So on a go command. And so in effect on the layout view, you get buttons that you can press for each of those. And that's the way this color picker works too. Each of these are sequences, except the nice thing about them, if I edit this sequence right here, it's a recipe line that drops the color in, but it also references an MA3 pool, which sets fade time. So I can go fade 0, and now they snap. Fade too, and now they change. And this macro here is just setting the matrix for the color group fade value to 2. And I stole some of these from the start show, which is a great thing to steal any features that you might want. Let me see what macro number that was. Macro 262. There we go. So I haven't taken the time to implement, but I'm working on, or I want to do some delay times as well, so that you get like the wipe of that color change. But again, this file is kind of rudimentary, and I'm using it to learn. It's there also to teach me how to do things. Like, I've tried to start integrating some more helpful things, in which I haven't done the greatest job ever, but like, I've got world as selection. So you select your fixtures, bump it, it creates a world with just that selection, and then filters it. And it's a toggle macro. Now we're out of that world, everything else is back. But I don't know that that's one that I've particularly used yet. So back to our intensity effect generator. I am going to start, which remind me to myself, which sequence are you? You are not sequence 207. Oh, it's executor 207. Am I able to do? Oh, sequence that. There we go. It's like, can I not do list and then tap? But it's or did I have to do? Did it appear because I did list reference? Well, list reference makes it appear. Okay, I can just scooch over. There we go. Oh. Okay, maybe it's silly that I didn't know this. I didn't know that you could go. I didn't know that you could go through little trees in list reference. I'm always learning something. So this is sequence 7 right now. There it is. So we're gonna scoot this down to live with the other effect sequences. Let's start this at 221 for now. And what I need to do, I'm gonna delete this second queue. And so we will start with just the singular effect. And I could, and I did earlier for my fade times for the colors, I could do a matrix pool. For example, this is one. This changes the fade time for these pars. I could do an matrix pool for this blinder effects, and that might be a smart way to do it. But I'm gonna be dumb and just continue modifying the recipe line directly, just because then I don't have something that's an intermediary. If for some reason stuff from my matrix pool gets deleted, this is still here, because ultimately the only thing that this will update is this line right here. And if I ever change my mind, it's not hard to go in and overhaul that at a later time. So I'm going to be naughty. I'm going to do it that way. And if I'm wrong about it and I regret it later, then that's my fault. So let's call this, I really want to swap this out to just, I think I want 2 intensity effect generators. I'm going to remove this appearance for now because I don't know what I want the appearance to ultimately be. Because right now, this has just been a blinders intensity effect, and I've had a separate button because I've got my temp fader right here for this intensity effect. When I want the pars to do an intensity effect, I just threw this on a button because I needed it. And this is what I'm ultimately trying to clean up and overhaul. So we're just going to start with this intensity effect one. And let me see, what do I have for color? Wings, phase, shuffle. So I want that for this too. So I'm just going to start, I'm going to cheat. Let me just place these here. Let me scooch this over so these end up lining up. Okay. Okay. Just for the sake of ease, so that I can flip back and forth between my layouts and a sequence view that's right here, where these are near each other. So, to have a show file that's more adaptable, one thing that's new in MA3 that's super helpful are these that are called recipes. And so this queue has a recipe pot, for example. And I'm going to flip views for a second. This is my regular programming view. So I'm going to get out of this stuff and just start with an example sequence. So let me go up to a blank page. Let's just create, actually, I have one. This sequence is blank. I'm going to delete and then delete. I'm just going to create a new sequence right here and then assign that to a fader in the bottom left of my console. So if I go to my sequence sheet and then I'm just going to add a new one because it will have the recipe line there. Right now, I don't have a queue, so I'm just going to store Q1, which has no data in it. And what I can do is, let's say I have these lights here, which the show file is small. But I'm just going to grab these lights right here. And I'm going to put them in a group. And we'll just pretend that these are all of the parts that I have. And I'll give it a appearance so that, it matches. But today, these are all the pars in my rig for today's programming session, for today's event. And we'll just go ahead and off everything so we have a blank starting point. There you go. I can go I'm just going to update this. I can come here to this queue, and I could go group 24 full, and then set it to a color. And I can store that into this queue. That's normal. That's the way that programming normally works. I'm going to instead, if I'm going to undo, so you can see if I off this queue, there's no data in it again. I'm going to go new recipe line. If I do my groups of pars and then give it, in this case, we'll just do a preset dimmer value of 100%, and I do another recipe line, give it a color of yellow on that same group, that data is now inside of this queue. So those fixtures, 411, 412, 413, 414, they now are referencing data from here. Now, the way that this becomes adaptable is, okay, it's a new day. We added these 6 extra lights. So I'm going to select them. I'm going to go and store them into this group and merge that data with the others. And now all of the programming where this group is referenced in a recipe line is now updated with these extra fixtures. And what makes this even cooler is I'm going to undo it. This group is now just these 4 lights again. I'm going to come over and let's say I want there to be, we'll make this color fade in immediately. I want you, we'll let it take, I'm being indecisive. We'll let this take half a second and it will come in from 0 to 1 second. So when I turn this off and I hit go, oh, don't make me do it with Y. All right. Let me do this from Y. Or actually, I don't want to get too heavy into selection grid stuff, but because this will actually break my example. So let me update this group because right now it is all dropping into the selection grid on the same on the same x-axis. So let me actually do 411 through 414. So now they're just in a normal line, so I can do X values for everything, just for the sake of example. So I'll merge this in. So now, when I do 0 to 1, we have an actual chase like that. So now let's say we need to update our group again, so that's 411 through 414 plus 401 through 406, because selection order matters, and I want it to create this selection order. I will now update this group, merge that data in, and when I press go on this queue, now everything comes in like that. So that's sort of what makes recipes really cool is if you have purpose-built sequences. So like, I'm going to delete this sequence because I'm through with it for now. And delete this group. If I go to this layout, for example, each of these buttons are sequences with recipe lines. So this is just a single queue that's telling group 3 to be yellow. Let's say I add twice as many LED pars to the sliding rig. If I update group 3 with the additional fixtures, all of the programming for these buttons update. Otherwise, the old-fashioned way to do things is cloning, where I go into the patch, I add extra fixtures, and then your command line syntax is MA X key 1. You can do like what sequence number is this? 141. I believe the syntax would be clone. Let's say your new fixtures are 501, and you want data from 401 to go to them. Let's just pretend clone fixture 401 at fixture 501. I don't think you need to do fixture there, but let's just be picky. And if you only want it to be on certain sequences, I can do if sequence 141 through 153, for example. And that will only clone fixture data from one light to another light in those sequences. But then your trick there is making sure that you're using presets for everything so that you're not moving hard data from one fixture to the other. Because you would want to go in on your fixtures and then update all of your presets. There's a lot here to learn. There's a lot that I'm learning, so it's learning MA is a very, very time-consuming thing. But back to this intensity generator. A little MA trick, if you just left and right click, you can swipe through here. If you're on a touch screen, 2 fingers up and down will let you quickly navigate. I think I want to do 2 main sequences with intensity effects. Let me turn these back on so I have colors on them again so I can see what I'm doing. So let's see. I want intensity effect. So in this case, let me look at what phasers I have. My show file is a little unorganized. Sorry about that. I tried to do phasers on an all pool that kind of mimics the effect pool, but I'm pretty bad at that. So it looks like I have universal, couple of different universal. And then some selective. All right, so we'll start here. So I'm going to grab, I'm actually going to move those to there so that I can now copy these universals here. So we'll start with these 0 to 100, 10 to 100, 10 to 50. Let's start with these. Because what I think I want to be able to do, I think I want to be able to toggle between each of these as I please on this layout. So I need this sequence that is N10 FX1 what do I want to call this? We'll just call it percentage. And right now, since I started with I'll come in, store 3 queues that are blank, 10 to 100. I guess I did slashes. What was the other one? Oh, 0 to 100, 10 to 100, 0. Then 10 to 50. And I guess I'm gonna need numbers for that. I shouldn't have placed this so far down. There we go. That's better. Let me check my appearances. These are my numbers. Now I wish that... I don't think I have a Photoshop document for these anymore. Let me see if... let me see where in the library these are. Shared resources. I guess I could be courteous and let you guys see what I'm doing. Shared resources. These are under symbols, so it should be library symbols. There's also a lot of symbols in here that I haven't had the chance to look through. Someone in the comments section of one of my videos said they left a comment about all of the symbols here in the library, and I didn't realize there were so many because I'm a bad person who's never looked. These might actually be in images. I might have moved them over to symbols. Nope. Anywhere else they would be? Symbols. I don't think I did this on 2.2.5. I definitely don't think I did it on 2.2.1, but who knows? Because I want to do a new image that has the proper slash. Well, sure enough. I don't remember what font this is, but I guess we'll just figure it out. Because, yeah, none of these numbers are there. (0/100). Let me do a quick. Let me see if I can do a quick find on what font this is. I'm being a picky creative designer right now who needs to get over it, but this, I guess, picky is, yeah, I'm picky about this sort of thing. More so than I should be. I don't need to spend this much time doing it, but I can't stop myself. That's it. It is Babus Nue? Maybe not. Why is Photoshop failing to change fonts? Why is Adobe being Adobe today? Oh, there it goes. And yeah, that is definitely it. So we'll make this nice and big. I don't need for them to be this close. All right, now what did I do to you? Oh, it's been too long since I had to use Photoshop every day. It's like you use it or lose it. All right. Export. Export as. Let's increase. Let's. This is 0/100. Gonna make 10/100. I don't think there's anything interesting in my downloads folder where I am exporting these pictures to. Yeah, there's nothing interesting here. Me saying that sounds suspicious. I just didn't want to open it and there be an important file with someone's privacy in it that I had downloaded. So let's go now. MA lighting, shared resource. I'm going to import these as images because that's easier. Where are you pulling this from? Whatever. If I do images, I don't have to deal with all of the different symbols that will appear. Because I can just copy those. And now they're symbols. I don't actually know that it makes a difference or not, it being in images or symbols, but I've primarily done them in symbols, so I'll just keep it that way. In this case, we'll do an orange background for this. Let me see, what do I have? 50. Okay. And then we want symbol there. Boom. So why don't you prefer the queue appearance? Oh my gosh, we have our first thing on the layout. Let's get rid of this name and value so that now we just have, cool. Now your job, what is your job? Not that. Actually, yeah, your job is this. Oh, oops. There we go. All right, so I think for simplicity's sake, what I want to start off with is this sequence has a recipe line with this group with phaser 101. It's blinders, and I want the pars. Actually, we're gonna do pars with phaser 101. I guess I'm trying to be more generic, so our spot fixtures. Shoot, what order do I have this in? Aura legend par. I have aura fixtures on this list even though I don't currently have aura fixtures. I'm gonna be generic, so wash, spots, pars. Trying to be consistent here. Blinders. 'Cause I don't think you can. Oh, would you look at that? You can easily move these around. You learned something new. And I just should make it easy and do that. So, all right. Do I have this on a fader anywhere? I do. Cool. They are responding. And so essentially what I want to do copy. Let me pick a more obvious one. Copy this at this. Overwrite. So if that's what I'm doing, actually, I'm going to let these live here. There. No! Jeez. Sometimes I look like I've never used one of these. There. All right. It's a little weird that I'm going from one pool to the other, but that's how I structured the other one. So that's what we'll do. So I need this command. So this, if you've never done this, if you do hashtag bracket, instead of this just always being preset 1.101, in this case it needs to be 102, what this will now do is if anything ever moves. So right now this is copy preset 102. Let's say preset 102 gets moved to 106. If I go back to this command, it now knows that it's copying preset 106. If I move this back, and instead of this being all, so 21.101, it's now 21.95. If I go back, I guess it helps if I do the right one. It is now preset 95. It means that this always tracks properly. And in fact, it needs to be 103. Ta-da. And we'll just change that to 95 because that's currently what it is. Oop. Add overwrite. I don't know if it's a bug or if this is working as intended, but I have issues with commands with this if you try to modify them later. To redo the whole command, but that means that it works. You can see that number changing, and if I move this back, it will still change. So if I go to my layout now, 0 to 100, 10 to 100, 10 to 50. 10 to 50 more than anything is there for the blinders. But it works. So next, I'm just going to copy these color effects. I need toggles for them. So I want this to be just call that inten effect. I'm not calling these auras anymore. I'm trying to be more generic. So it's inten effects wash, inten effects spot, inten effect pars. I'm just going to go ahead and update this label too. I think, yeah, these recipe lines are named, so let's update those. And then this should be linked to the line itself, yeah. So what I need this to do, set sequence. Oh no, I gotta think through the syntax for this, because that won't update. Go figure, I picked a fixture that's not in the visualizer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. Is it because, okay. I pick fixtures that aren't even patched. So of course they're not working. Okay. I'm quite literally about to go to my own YouTube video to remember the command line syntax for how to write out this command. Okay, hang on. I think I remember. Q 1.1 part 0.1. I'm just going to place this on a console button so I have quick access to it. Yeah, that's it. So now this is turning on and off this recipe line. And the problem is, again, because I like to bracket it. I'm just going to screenshot that so I have that for my records. Because I like to bracket it so that it will always stick with it. That's not something that properly copies or pastes, which is annoying. Because if I go to edit it now, it shows up like this, which is sequence, queue, part number, line, but that syntax doesn't work properly unless I'm just dumb. I very well might be missing something there. All right. So that enables and disables for this fixture. I need to make another one. N10 effects blinders. And we need to assign each of those to this group. Now this needs to be 0.2. Do our syntax. And now our no. That'll do it. Did that not? Oh, it broke. Of course. I would love to know if this is just me with wonky stuff happening with this syntax. Boom. Now the spots come on. Now they don't run the effect. Now we'll do these pars. This is number 3. Enabled is 1. $sign bracket. Close the bracket. $sign bracket. Close the bracket. Helps if you change this to 3. I'm losing it. $sign bracket. This is 4. $sign bracket. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna lose it. But as much as the $sign bracket guys end up driving me crazy, they are super nice to have. They're super helpful, so that you can always know. Why are you not working? If I did a 3. I did a 3! Golly. Please don't. Okay. Now it should work. Oh my gosh, it works. How many attempts did that need to take? Not that many. So I'm a sucker for my layouts looking nice. So let's place these into neat little boxes. I don't like to go any smaller than this because this gets hard to touch, but this size works for me. So now, well, those fixtures don't exist. Now we have some toggle buttons. Sometimes with MA, because you can use 1 and 0. Sometimes with MA, I can't help but think, like, how would, if I was German, how would I do this? Because that's probably the way that it's going to end up being. Helps to think that way when working with D&B gear too. Now I want to emulate this wings. N10 FX wings. We already have the appearances here. I just need to modify the command. Property. X-wings. But we're just going to set it for everything there. Does this one just say part 0? Oh, I see. We just did this. X-wings. Let's just make sure this works. X-wings. 5. 5. Q1. Do I have X-wings of 0? Okay, that works. I love how I'm triggering queues to test these commands instead of just dumping them in the command line. But I think when you go live on the internet for other people to watch you do things, sometimes simple steps go out the window. I also love to... Part of what I've really loved sharing about programming and workflows is I get a lot of comments from people who know more things than I do. And so I also get to learn a ton from everybody else commenting. So that's been a very nice bonus too. Spending a little bit of time streaming and producing content and how-tos. It's fun getting to help people, but it's also fun getting to learn. All right, I need phase from X this time. And I might... be able to do this because I'm gonna need to drop. Yeah, I can do that here. A second instance of that. So can I copy and paste this and it work? Is this seriously gonna work? Oh. So what if I directly copy and paste the exact proper syntax, it works? I'll take it. All right, let's throw this temp fader up. Let's turn this on. Let's place this here. Let's make this button bigger. Well, it doesn't work. Oh. Oh. I'm just dumb. I'm literally pressing the wrong button. I was clicking that thinking it was my phase button. All right, well, the phase button's not working. Let's figure out. Oh. That'll do it. Needs to helps when you actually properly do. Phase 2x. All right, now. There it goes. Boom. Now, is this... Okay, this is Speedmaster controlled. Perfect. Last, let's just add... Shoot. Gotta add the 1. Because I'm planning on doing 2 of these identical. How many sequences do I have running at this point? 16. I don't know if... because I use running sequences to toggle these. And for the sake of their appearances instead of macros where appearances are getting switched on and off. Just because it's much easier to... it's much quicker to make a sequence with 2 appearances and then toggle between them. And these sequences don't have any data in them, but technically queues are running. I've never had any instability or slow performance or anything. But if anyone from MA Lighting is horrified by the way that I'm using their software because it's going to cause instability or I'm going to have too much stuff running, let me know. But also, the software is impressively rock solid. So now I need property X shuffle. I'm going to borrow this syntax line because I only have to change one value now. Right now, I just have it set. I just have it set 1, the number 1 when it's shuffling, and it's 0 when it's not. So let me go to my layouts now for a second. I just want to extend to make them twice as wide. Well, I tried. All right, let's together remember how to do a text box. It's amazing how quickly it's like you use it or lose it. Where custom text, wings. What size did I make this text? 28. Also, I'm gonna color this real quick. All right, I think it was 28. That looks right. This is phase. What? All right. That is a page for an intensity effects generator. Boom. What order is this? Is that my blinder group selection order? No. Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. All right, so that's number one. And I want to create this exact same thing on a second fader so I can have two different sets of settings. But I think I like this. The only downside is if I want to toggle on a group, it snaps. But that's kind of why I like the idea of having two. The other thing that I questioned is if there's something that I should do with crossfading between two cues. But I like having the temp fader here, and I kind of like the idea of just a temp fader on each. Because when this is 0 to 100, I have the ability to run it like this if I want. And that also might affect, like, I don't know that I'll use the 10 to 50 because I can always pull it down. But I like having the option, so we'll see as the more I use this. If it's something I end up using any more of. The other thing that I'm trying to work out is efficiently using my faders for things. And I've got, I think I want to do a layout for gobos, because right now I just have a button to toggle between them. Let's take just a second. Let's find some inspiration. There's a lot of great stuff in this file too. Also, hang on. All right, the MA start show. These are just a ton of sequences. So I don't feel bad. How many are running right now? Okay, I guess just the 4, but. I would like to figure out and rip off how. Oh, I see what they're doing. Well, that's for later. This is a great file. They did a great job with the start show. I'm just too much of a narc and want to do my own things. And this color picker is very comparable. Okay, they're just doing cues or sequences with cue appearances. They're like me. But I see they've got group with gobos, so you can just cycle through. But what is this? These are sequences. Thing that I might be missing is these are gobo presets, but if it's zoom and focus and stuff, that would normally be under beam. So I don't know what I'm missing here. Well, here's iris small, which I guess is gobo open. They have a gobo, a focus, and a beam preset for recipe. Okay. Color, gobo. This is their dimmer phaser generator, which is great. This position phaser guy is one that I will rip off at some point. What I find interesting is on the console side, they don't have a ton mapped for the console. Okay, I know LOS, I think they called live output system. I see. So these are for bump keys on the X keys to modify them. Which is actually brilliant. For real, the more I dig into the show file, the more stuff that I want to steal. And I guess I'm a narc for wanting to have my own file, my own way that I built everything so that I know what everything is. But like, my X key setups are not great. And one of them oh shoot, I should not have hit that macro. One of them changes the scale because my laptop has is a little wonky showing some screens. But like, and I hit that macro again. Like, I've got some intensity flashes, and I probably should use my X keys more. It's probably something that I'm bad about, and I'm sure some of it is. I do most of my shows on a command wing, and I think the X keys are in a better place on the actual consoles as compared to the command wings. So like, my primary flash buttons are these 4 across the bottom. But what I do a lot of is like white hits on these pars. But I've also got this effect, and then flash on the blinders, and then blinders like that. And then I have my main effects BPM fader as one of my main faders there at the bottom. And I have a tap BPM in the bottom rightmost. And then I have a position speed for my position effects. And that lives down there as well. But I'm trying to move towards single cue sequences that are modified by something in the layout view, which seems to be the workflow that MA is endorsing as well, especially based on that start show. But it's all a learning process and a learning curve. The show file has been a lot of fun to develop and really learn little tips and tricks to make work well and work the way that I want it to. So, what I can go ahead and delete this off. I think I want to move away because I have this gobo cycle. I think I'm going to update this view. What do I want the views pool to be colored? Oh, there's nothing that's that color. All right, I think I want color picker. How do I want to do this? I am going to stick with this for now, but what I'm thinking about doing is the more effects generators I have, and maybe it's time to just do it this way. To do this view that has effects generators. And then color picker positions, we'll just call why not flash buttons. What happened here? And this can be, we'll just call it default for now. Until I come up with a better name. So then I can cycle between these sets. I don't know. I guess I broke my appearances? I don't know. I don't think I imported these others as symbols. Did I have to import this as symbol? Was it because I copied an image to the symbols pool to be there instead? Because they're just straight up gone. Let me just, 'cause this is still pulled up. Let me just, let me copy these these images to the symbols pool. That's funny. Let me import them that way. Since they're numbers, they appear at the top. All right, now it's back. But yeah, I got to figure out now what now I got to figure out how I want to label everything on the console. Which some of it, let's see, what's on this page? At this point, I'm in some ways operating on multiple pages already. I don't know why this is here. I have a fader for face. This. All right. So there's some stuff that I'm thinking about just pushing off onto another page and letting that exist like that. Because the other thing that I've got some muscle memory that we'll need to that I'll need to update. But I might move color over to here because I want intensity 2, then a position effects, then color effects. And so I think I want, because it's called circle effect right now, I want this to be position effect. Because I want to use some of that more standard terminology. I guess for now, because I had executor time there, but I never use it. I could set this to position speed. I still want to tap somewhere. But maybe, I mean, I don't really use the tap for position. So I could do position speed on the left or on the right and then BPM on the left. The primary. Is it grand BPM? Is that what this is? Selected speed. Okay. All right. Selected rate does not need to be a thing. Grand rate does not need to be a thing. All right. Let's do my favorite activity because I want clarity on this. Let's go to that GrandMA3 user manual because this was selected speed. Because the question mark that I have is this seems a bit master fadery for me, actually. So here's what I think I'm gonna do. Or hang on. Yeah, I don't know why this particular one is selected speed, because I don't think that it affects just any selected sequence. I mean, I guess here's what I can do. Let's experiment for a second. All right, so here's this sequence. Yeah, it's not like it's affecting it, even though it's a selected sequence. Right now it's set to stop. This is still operating fine. If I set that Speedmaster, now it's affected. I don't know. Maybe someone who knows more than me can tell me if to hit pause. I did. Maybe someone who knows more than me can clarify that for me. So anyway, that will tidy this up. So I have a separate button for pan and a separate button for circle. But what I want to do, where is position? It is sequence 211. Okay, it's this one right here. So I want this. I see. I want to do something similar for this one. So let me place the fly out, because I don't know what I'm going to do with the fly out. I don't want it to go away, but it's also not as simple as it's not just a position effect, because that phaser also has dimmer value in it. So I'm going to go layouts to the effects generator, position effect. I really want to import my scribbles as appearances, but it wouldn't let me earlier. So I'm going to create two little symbols for now. Give me just a second. All right. So the other one that I'm doing, I want a circle. Doesn't need fill. Let's give it white. Let's just do this for now. Shared resources. Symbols. You know what? It's fine. So now back to MA3. Going back to our appearances. I don't need... We'll just rework this a little. Actually, I can really do something more like this. So really the appearances that I use start at 5,000. So that's a little more helpful. So we'll just start with my circle. Should have made that stroke a little thicker. Oh well. You know, I made that because that's the scribble that I use, but this just looks like an Ethernet symbol on the old like Apple Macs. We'll throw something on the visualizer so there's something going on while I do this. So circle and pan. And so what I need so right now, if I want to do this, this isn't referenced by anything. Neither is that, so I can safely get rid of that. I need circle. And then what is this pan? 2.8. Okay. Is that a copy? No. I'm going to write a new pan effect. I like for my positions to be sign positions. So I'm just going to write that on a phaser and call it good. So I'm just going to go 201 solo and highlight it. Position relative. I'm just going to do minus 15%. 15%. I'm just going to go in, uncheck tilt because it just needs to be pan. I'm going to give it a sign so it's nice and smooth. Hold store. I want this to be universal. What am I looking for? There it is. Boom. Now I have my pan effect that I can be happy with. Alright, where is our all? There's our all. Color. Can now be 121. So what I need, because I'll also move this old effect down to live with the others. I need this to now reference we're going to pretend that we have a wash fixture that move. We want you to be phaser 111. So that now when I pull position effect fader, boom. The likelihood that I would want this to be 0 to 180 phase for the entire time is very low, but I'm going to write the option in because I have it on everything else. So where I need to start with position effects. What do I want to call this? I'm just going to call it the form, which is risky because it's not quite what forms in MA2 were. I want to preset 2.101 at preset 21.111/0. And now 102. And I never made an appearance with those images, so let's do that real quick. Symbols, circle. Here we go. That makes these look a lot better. Less brown. Brown is such a weird color. It's orange with context. Do I want... It's a little too close to the phaser. Or to the phase. I don't mind going pink. I actually kind of like this hot pink. Let's just go with this for now. I don't love that circle, but I don't want to go back to Photoshop right now. Let's pull this position effect fader. Pan, circle, sweet. All right, I'm going to throw a phase on this, and then I really need to wrap up for now. So the exact same way that we did set sequence 211 Q1. And this is phase 2. Same deal. We'll drop this right here. Oh, interesting. What's happening here? I wonder if there was something wrong with that preset. No. Uh-oh. I hope there's not. What? Okay, I hope I'm not blind. Or crazy. I hope that there was... Weird. All right, well. I'm going to call it a day from here. But keep following along while I keep working out and developing the show file and keep learning. Leave a comment if you have any video suggestions or ideas or questions. And all of that said, I did a video on appearances on lock screens. Primarily around this lock screen I have on this show file. So check that out on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you later.